Joe may have solved the case. Do you recall the uranium mine that he was camped beside? It turns out that he was camping there because he was convinced that it was hosting some government conspiracy. Well, it turns out that someone had been up to visit the site on more than one occasion. The last time they visited, they came with a truck. Bobby was suspicious, so he tailed the truck as it moved around the reserve. Just before they left the reserve, Bobby lost sight of it as it disappeared into the woods. Before Bobby could figure out where it had gone, the truck returned to the road and drove out of the reserve. Bobby kept tailing them. Once they were out of the county, the driver jumped out, grabbed a jerry can from the back, and doused the truck in gasoline before setting it on fire. Bobby swears to me that the guy who got out of the truck is William Simpkins Jr. Shortly afterwards, he was picked up by someone in a car that matches the description of Junior's best friend. You remember the old chairman I told you about? That's William Simpkins Sr. This is his son. I went to school with him after he got himself kicked out of his fancy prep school. Junior was pretty horrible to everyone at school, but he was especially nasty to Bobby. I won't go into details, but I wouldn't be surprised if Bobby holds a grudge. The spot I'm sending you to is the place where Bobby says the truck took a detour before leaving the reserve. The driver desperately needed to get out of here. So why take a detour? Unless it was absolutely essential.
That's a good question. That's a very good question. So I guess the old problems aren't in the past. Alright, well, where are we headed? Alright, we're going to do Whodunnit. After just having heard about this driver. Let's go see where he was messing around and what was so important that he took a detour before leaving. So it's way over here. I've got a couple of options as far as where I can drive from. It seems to be right in between these two outposts. I'll just go to this one, and then we'll make our way there. There are some tracks. Okay. Well, let's give chase. They got out of the truck.
Whoever it was that drove in here got out. Follow the footprints. Bloody handprint? That's really not a good sign. Whose blood is on his hands? Look, there's blood on the ground. Keep following that trail. It seems to be the end of the trail. There's a little patch of disturbed soil. Did they bury something? Saw blade. Oh, it's the saw blade that had been attached to the dig team's rock saw. But why detach it from the saw and bury it unless it was important? Take another look at the blade. It's not just rusty, is it? It's got blood on it. I'd bet it's the Vandal's blood too. Okay, what? Don't touch the blade. Leave it there.
Why bury it here?
On their way. They'll probably want to talk to you. I think we've just found the missing piece of the puzzle. Great work. I've got an update. Junior and his friend were just pulled over by the state police. Guess who has a nasty gash across their hand? Good morning, my friend. hope you've enjoyed the last few days of uninterrupted peace and tranquility. I've just said goodbye to the last of the deputies team. They've gathered up all the evidence they think they'll need. While you've been busy hunting and exploring, I've been in interviews or giving statements to the police, the board, and even the local press. I haven't stopped or slowed down for what feels like at least a week now. I doubt today will be very different. I wanted to catch up with you this morning as I wanted to express my gratitude for the work you've done and ask you for one last big favor. I know I mentioned my dad's concern that there was a more spiritual reason for why things have been tough at the reserve. I can't say that I necessarily agree with him, but I'd like to do something to make him feel better. This job involves a journey to the top of Mount Silver Ridge. I don't trust anyone else to do this. Can you make it to the start of the trail? I think I ought to tell you why I'm sending you over there, right? So, since my dad got sick and I took over the warden position, we've sort of stopped doing a lot of the things that we used to do together. Sadly, this has resulted in us both missing the bear dance back in spring. I know it means a lot to my dad, and I feel bad that we weren't able to make it. It can get pretty tense when we discuss our culture back home. Dad and I see the world through different lenses. I am proud of my heritage and where I come from, but I don't want it to define me as a person. Dad sees that as me turning my back on my community. Since we both missed the bear dance, I plan to make it up to Dad by attending the Sundance in a week's time. You're probably wondering what this has to do with you walking up a mountain, right? Just before I was born, my grandfather climbed Mount Silver Ridge and stashed a pair of quartz rattles at the top. When I was a teenager, my dad showed me them and told me that they were only to be brought down the mountain in times of dire need. I think that if I bring those rattles with me to the Sundance, Dad will appreciate that I've accepted their significance and paid respect to our beliefs. So, after helping pull the reserve back together, I'm hoping you'll help me comfort my dad. I hope I'm not asking too much.
Would be my great pleasure.
While you're on your way up, why don't I fill you in on the recent news? So, first things first, Junior. I have some mixed news there. Was it Junior that terrorized the reserve? Almost certainly yes. He has, however, been released from prison after one of Daddy's lawyers stepped in to save him. He's so cocky that he actually gave an interview to a reporter, but kept using phrases like we and us, as well as the Simpkins family, which raised a few red flags. I am confident that the evidence we've gathered and Bobby Joe's testimony will help to bring the truth out, though. Anyway, in light of everything that went on here, the police are looking at the whole Simpkins family, not just Junior. I suspect that Simpkins Sr. saw an opportunity to get his payback on the APAR for brainwashing Timothy, the reserve for pushing him off the board, and on my family after my dad reported his eldest son to the police. Oh, and speaking of the board, they've really been great in the last couple of days. They've been really supportive and appreciative of how this mess has been dealt with. I'm getting a lot of the credit, but I keep telling them you were doing most of the work out there in the reserve. If there was ever any doubt from the board that I was right in hiring you, it's gone now. In fact, the work that you and Remy have done is already having a strong effect on our bookings. Next week's schedule is already filling up fast. thank you. This means a lot to me. Enjoy the view from the top. You earned it. Our outlook is so much brighter, just because you're here with us. When I get back from the Sundance, why don't we spend some time hunting together? The media attention has actually had some unforeseen side effects. Some government inspectors are coming out to visit the polluted lake. I guess there is such a thing as bad press, huh? I'm gonna go get ready for that meeting. Hopefully we can get things moving again. Take care. We'll catch up soon.
Mission complete. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the series, everybody. It's been my great pleasure to bring it to you. I hope that some of the videos within this playlist have been helpful in helping you finish your missions. And hope to see you around, because I'm going to keep making content and I'm going to keep hunting this reserve. And I'm probably going to be spending most of my time here for the next little bit because it is beautiful. And I can't wait to get some of the stuff on my trophy in my trophy lodges that this reserve has to offer. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming by. I really appreciate the support on the videos. And subscribe, comment, engage me in the comments. I'd love to chat with all of you. Thanks very much.